The start time, July 17th, 6 o'clock. So, as always, I'd like to start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Mr. Murphy.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day of life, and we come before you tonight. We ask for your guidance, Father. We ask for understanding. We accuse no one of anything, but we ask you for the truth to come out, and we ask, just give us wisdom as we proceed, and we ask that you protect our firefighters. We thank you. In the name of Jesus, we pray.
Amen.
Thank you, Murphy. So I'd like to do a roll call. Murphy Arsenault.
Yes.
Mr. Leo Casnay. Here. Danny Hall's present. Mr. Raymond. Here. Ms. Hutchinson.
Here.
So we've got the board here, we've got a quorum. I'd also like to recognize our councilman, Joan Stoddard. We've got Chief Seafard here, Assistant Chief Geisler. Don't see Miss Teresa. There's Miss Teresa. Teresa's here. I'd like to recognize Mark Wininski. He's with Tammany. He's our Human Resources Business Partner. We've got members of the fire department. We've got members of the public, and we also have folks watching on social media. So we're live streaming. Is that correct, Michael?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're live streaming. Unfortunately, folks that are watching live stream can't ask us any questions. If you have questions, you can certainly call the fire department. You could leave a message, ask for me, leave a message, I'll call you back, I'll try to address any questions that you have. I'd like to cover a few ground rules before we get started. And so first and foremost, I'd like to have everybody just simply be respectful and professional to each other. Sometimes these things can get pretty frustrating. Keep the discussions on topic. While everyone in the public is welcome to come to these meetings, when it comes to the discussion specific to the millage and how that millage should be managed and how that money should be spent, please reserve those comments and that time for the citizens of Fire District 3, because that's who that tax affects. When the public or firemen are speaking, please provide us your name and your home address. That's simply for the record, because tonight goes as a matter of record. Purpose of the meeting tonight is to discuss discussion relative to the 2024 tax assessment rolling forward millage to the amount approved by the citizens of Lacombe. And our councilman, Mr. Postada, is here. He asked to speak first. He has another meeting to go to. And so I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Postada.
Thank you all very much. I'll start by describing the Folger situation. 20 years ago, we, through a pilot program, the state approved the program. They chose Lacombe as their location. We needed the zoning change. So we were fortunate to get the Folger's distribution warehouse. 20 years, basically, you all receive very little taxes. I'm sure the return is nowhere near what it costs to maintain a facility. But we did get a voluntary payment of $50,000 a year, I believe, for the fire department. 60, and a recreation district at $15,000 a year. So I don't know if you all know, we just changed it. The rec district was removed Folgers from their boundaries, which we did change it for next year, but they won't be able to collect any money from Folgers this year, just so you know. As a council member, mainly as a citizen of Lacombe, what you all do is very different than a recreation district or a lighting district or a mosquito district. You touch our lives every day, potentially. And when you do, it's in a big way. As I just experienced my dad, and I was telling the story not too long ago about one of my closest friends that was at my house, almost paralyzed. The fire department was there first. And I think we all know, you don't have to be an expert to understand how important how fast the ambulance gets to your house, how well, good of a job they do taking care of you, and how fast they transport you to the hospital. You know, I have 2 children, 2 young boys in my house. They're very dangerous. I never know who will even make that call. You know, and for me, as a landowner, my father is a landowner, my brother is a landowner in this district, I want to make sure I have the best service for my family, okay? Bar none. I mean, I want the best everything. I want the best recreation. I know it's incumbent on all of us to be as efficient as possible with our revenue and to provide the best service, but particularly when you're talking about a fire district, you know, that is also our ambulance provider. We need to make sure priority number 1 is providing the best service, not to be, you know, cutting every nickel. I think I have a special understanding of that only because I live in Macomb. I've been here since I was 1.5 years old. My family's been here. We've used the service many times, and we know we need it. I know the people in this community. I know how important it is. And it's a dang big deal what you all do. You know, as a council member, my responsibility is to appoint people to this board, trust that you all are going to make good decisions, okay? And carry out those decisions and perform a great service. And I do. I trust that. I told Danny from day one, I told the chief this as well, you all do what you need to do to provide the best service. If you need to roll forward to provide that service, do it. You have my support completely. The council doesn't vote on it, as you all know, but I don't want you to think I'm gonna hide behind a tree and not come out in favor of what you all need to do. If you need to make sure, you know, whether that's making sure your firemen are paid correctly, making sure you have the adequate staff, making sure you have what you need, making sure your equipment is updated. I'm fine with never being elected as council member again. I'll never be fine with somebody getting hurt in this community, not being taken care of properly, or not being able to provide a good service. Particularly, we're talking about life and death. I mean, you know, it's so much bigger than us, and it's so much bigger than money. I mean, everybody is so obsessed with money. Like, we need the service. It's crucial. I know when we first did the ambulance service, and we talked about this several times, and I confirmed this with somebody today, because I'll never forget this story. A young girl, I'm not going to mention her name, was involved in a 4-wheeler accident. We did not have ambulance service. That girl died, and it took over 40 minutes for an ambulance to get there. Now, I can't sit here and say I know for sure that's why. And there were other stories like that back then, okay, about over 20 years ago. 40 minutes, 35 minutes, 50 minutes. I mean, this is insane. We cannot do this. I know, and I can tell you from discussions with Danny and other fire, I know you guys are not like, oh, we want to be. Because I've heard the term, which was very offensive to me, it's a money grab. You all want the money. That's why you want an ambulance service. I know that's not true. I know most of you probably wouldn't even want to be in the ambulance business if you can get out of it. You want to provide fire safety. You know, we need you to be in the ambulance business. I need you to be in it for my kids, for my family, you know, for the sake of the community. So it's what you're doing is really important. I'm very sorry that you've come under any scrutiny. You know, I think you guys make little to no money. You're here volunteering your time. You're all members of the community. You're all taxpaying members of the community. You should not come under, you know, should not be criticized for doing what you feel is in the best interest of this community. You should be commended for it. And for the courage. It's easy to say, oh, we're getting criticized. Let's not do it. It'd be better. No. It should be, you know, it's a big deal to stand up for what you believe in. And I'm very proud to be part of that and proud of you all for doing that. And it means a lot to me. You know, the council is going to take an action in the next couple of meetings to try to help educate the public on what's what. Like, does the council vote on these millage roll forward? No. Does the assessor vote on whether the millages get rolled forward? What's the job of the assessor? What's the job of you guys? You know, what are our responsibilities? Who should you, if you want to make a decision, if you want to have a question about should the fire department roll forward, you should be at this meeting, not at a meeting at Coop Drive. You should be calling one of you guys and talking to you. What's going on? What are your expenses? Take a few minutes, if you're really concerned about it, take a few minutes of your time to understand what's going on. But know this, I feel completely confident that you all are making the best decision. You're making a courageous decision. You're making a decision based on the necessity to provide service and to save our lives and to be there for us in our scariest time of need. So I appreciate everything you all have done. I stand behind you with your decision. And, you know, same thing I try to say every time. If you ever need anything at all from me, you know I will do my best to help. I'm here, I answer my phone, and just let me know. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And,
Thank you.
you know, you all make whatever decision you all make, I'm behind you, okay?
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You said going up the road. Does anybody have anything for Councilman Pistotta before you? I hear nothing, so you're free to go.
No, thank you all very much. Good evening.
That was good to hear. We've got our one and only voice there within government. So he stands behind us. You may or may not know, I think I shared it with everybody who was on the board. There was a letter that was sent out by the tax assessor. It went out on social media, and I think some folks, I think maybe somebody within our own department got it. One of the firemen got it. I don't have it. I wish I would have included that in the handout, but it's not important because I was really just going to use that as the script to talk from. That was my point. But I can do it with what I've got. So what I want to do, folks, is I want to go over some slides. And basically what the slides is all for is so that we all understand what it is we're talking about. You know, there's confusions about, are we rolling forward $1.4 million? I mean, Ms. Janie asked me that question, are we rolling forward $1.4 million? Yep. You know, so there's obviously, based upon the words mills and all those things is not words that we use all the time, so we really doesn't register sometimes well with us. So we maybe talk about that a little bit to understand what it is. And so without going any further into that, so I like to, when I'm doing these things, I like to stand when I do it. So in the assessor's communication out to the public, and by the way, folks, I'm not attacking the assessor at all. He feels he's got to do what he's got to do. He's got to say what he wants to say. I'm just using his paperwork as my script. So in his communications, he made a statement that the fire protection districts intend to consider rolling up millages and increased taxes. And so I answered the question, and you know, are we consider rolling up the millage and increase taxes? And what we are doing is just the fact that we are considering it. At this point in time, we haven't approved anything. We haven't made a decision. The decision really comes in on July 31st at 4 o'clock on Coop Drive. That's when we cast our votes as to what we want to do. So there is no decisions made to do anything at this point. So people understand that the voters have approved, the voters of our fire district have approved us to get 34.95 mills. Okay, what is a mill? All right, so the easiest way I can explain it, a mill is 1/1000th of a dollar. Or talking pennies, it's 1/100th of a penny. That's what we're really talking about when we're talking mills. So we get these big numbers, those 34.95 of 1/1000th of a dollar. Okay. So another thing that we have to consider is that after a reassessment period, which we just went through, the assessor must, by law, reduce the millage to a point that tax bills stay the same. The term is referred to as being revenue neutral. So all the other properties that was on the tax rolls, they've been paying their bill, got reassessed. He's going to adjust the millage so that their bill doesn't reflect anymore. It's probably pretty stable. So the assessor, what he's done is he's rolled back our millage, he's rolled it down from 34.9 mils down to 32.36. So he reduced the millage by 2.59. Okay, that's what he moved it down to. So we are not considering increasing taxes. We can't do that. It's not our job to increase tax. That's a vote of the people. What we're doing is moving millages, right? Now, does it increase a tax bill if we bring things up? It does. I'm not going to deny it. So if we move from 32.36 to 34.95, will people pay more money? Yes, they will. Not going to deny it, they will. But I'll show you what that means in just a minute. All right, so are we considering moving it forward? Yes. The Board of Commissioners must consider three things when we think about this money, these people's money, moving millages back and forth. The question we have to ask is, can we continue to provide adequate services with the rollback that the assessor's done? So can we still do our job at 32.36 mils? Can we do it with the money that generates? Can we do it adequately? And that's a question that the board's got to ask ourselves, is with new growth, can that new money provide adequate services to those new properties? Thank you. If you would, Michael, if you could just hand them out, it would be official. Thank you. All right. So we have to ask that. So we've got new property, new people in the area, we've got new homes. Well, we got soldiers, been here 20 years, but it's new money. It's coming on the rolls this year. Never been taxed before. They have not been dodging a bullet. They've been giving us money, kind donation of $60,000 a year. Okay, so they've been giving us that. The other thing we have to consider as a board is that with the rollback millage and the new growth money, does that provide for us to do strategic planning? We got stuff coming, folks. We got a major road that's coming in from Bogalusa, and it's going to dump on Highway 434. We have to be planning for that strategically. What are we going to be doing? We've got growth all over our district. Do we build new stations? I'll show you some things in a minute talking about our need. Do we take advantage and maybe take care of some of the need we need? But I'll say this, that if the board, us, with the guidance of the people, if the additional funding is needed, the Board of Commissioners must decide if we should roll up the amount that the citizens approve. That's our only job here. It's our only job. So we have to answer these three questions. And if the money, if it comes back that we think we can do it with what the money the assessor's giving us, then leave it alone. But if you don't think we can do this, folks, we have to, as stewards of people's money and the overseers of this fire department, we have to move it forward. Okay. So total increase in a list of hearing dates. So that was the next thing on his paperwork that Mike was passed around. So it was a bit confusing because he posted this bank of numbers right underneath the words rolling forward. They're considering rolling up or rolling forward. And then right up underneath it, you can see Fire District 3 with a total increase of $1,457,620, and he throws a magic number of 71.31%. And we've got a hearing date of July 31st at 4 o'clock. Okay. Now, the illusion is that we're rolling forward $1.4 million. I can't tell you how many times we've discussed what we're rolling, what we're capable of rolling forward, what we're not. But even after that, Ms. Janie sends me a note. She says, I'm confused. What am I rolling forward? Are we really rolling forward $1.4 million? So it made confusion. So that's why we should be talking about it tonight. So, no, we're not rolling forward 1.4562. The maximum that we can roll forward if we took advantage of everything, the maximum dollar that we can roll forward is $260,000, folks. Not $1.4 million. Only $260,000, that's the maximum. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, now, the only money that can be rolled up is reassessment money, not new money. And I think we changed that in our slide, right? In our case, the new money comes from what? It comes from new construction. It's new homes that come into the area. We're experiencing that. Tammany, we've got a subdivision on the east side that's full. It's blossomed. Folgers, who has been tax exempt for the past 20 years, comes on the roll this year, so that's new money. An inventory that Folgers has at its warehouse on Highway 4034 is also new money. And again, we have not experienced anything for that for the past 20 years, other than the fact that they have given us a donation of about $60,000 a year. All right, so I promised you I would explain to you the effect. So remember, it's 2.59 mils. And what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. So I can show you this, that if we roll forward to a maximum of 34.95 mils, and the cost of a house being $250,000, and that house has a homestead exemption on it, the cost that a homeowner will pay, because we rolled it all the way up to the max, they'll have to pay an additional $45.33 a year, or $3.78 a month. So it's not it's not this mega money. It's this $260,000. That's all we can do legally, and this shows you the effect. That's an average cost of a house, $250,000. That's the average cost of the average Joe, $45 a year. That's what he's got to pay. All right, so now, because this guy's the expert, he's got a bigger brain than I got, I'm going to turn it over to him, and he's going to talk about new money to the tax rolls and the effects of Folgers. So Mark, I yield to you.
And the source of all my information is actually released from the assessor's office. And the new money came from the assessor to all the departments through an email by Troy Dugas on May 29th of this year at approximately 2 p.m. And in that, he highlights the value of the new growth. The new growth is any new asset added to the tax roll for this year. So it could be new construction, a new business, a new home, or a tax exempt property that has not been on the tax roll for whatever period of time. And Folgers is, the big event for the new money for this year, which has been exempt for 20 years. Your new growth was 28.99% in this reassessment. So that was the largest percent of new growth, of all the taxing entities in this reassessment for 24.
So excuse me, it's not 71%?
No, 28.99%.
Okay.
And Folgers, from the statement from the assessor at multiple meetings where he's made presentations, will be in the top 10 taxed bodies in the entire parish that receive taxes, parish-wide. So one of the things that when you look at new money is every year you receive new money in your levy of your assessment. It could be 5 homes came on the tax roll, 2 businesses came on the tax roll. So new money is part of every single year that you levy a tax in every taxing authority in St. Tammany Parish. So this is not exclusive to District 3 in Lacombe. This is parish-wide. Folgers was the elephant in the room because it's been tax exempt for 20 years, which is now non-tax exempt. And the 24 levy, which will happen around November, December of this year, which is money you will receive in 2025 for operations, is when Folgers came to the tax roll. Based on that 29%, 28.99, if you'll permit me to use round numbers so I'm not spitting out pennies, is based on what your 2023 tax roll and reassessment was, which was approximately $2 million. $2,045,000. So that equated to about $593,000 total of new growth. Please note that we have not received any official document from the assessor's office saying your new growth is X amount of money attributed to these X properties that came on board. We're dealing with a percentage provided by the assessor's office against the 2023 grand recap. The assessor has stated, and please correct me because most of you have been in these presentations, that the vast majority of the new money or new growth to the tax roll for Lacombe is Folgers. We know the total is approximately $593,000. We don't know of that 593 how much of that is attributed exclusively to Folgers. The assessor told us that Folgers has two components that were, as every business has two components that you put up, where you have a physical property levy of taxes for buildings, grounds, things of that nature. And then you have an inventory levy for what's contained in the buildings. You know, that's why you see a big clearing of automobile lots when they do the inventory tax, because if it's not there, they can't do it. The benefit for businesses in the state of Louisiana is there's a 100% offset of the inventory tax that is reimbursed to those businesses through the state legislature. So, but the assessor has told us that out of this Folgers, about 150,000 can be attributed to facilities and grounds, and the balance of that would be inventory tax. He has told us that could be as much as a zero, or up to, you know, maybe $400,000 a year, depending on when they do the inventory. They do that statewide. It's state process. So from a go-forward standpoint, if that inventory is absent that day that they take they do the assessment, then you're down to about $150,000. Again, approximate numbers. We have not gotten any official document from the assessor saying it's exactly X amount for grounds and property. So, you know, I've been with clients in St. Tammany Parish for 21 plus years. This is my 6th reassessment. Your rollback rate of that 2.59 is approximately 8% off of the 34.95. The assessor has stated that the parish-wide, the total reassessed value was roughly 25%. He also said that in certain districts, it's not exactly 25, but if you look at parish-wise, 25%, the rollback rate is 8%. So if you roll forward, you legally have to advertise what is the value of that 8%, the 2.59 mils, which equates to approximately $260,000. New money is not required to be advertised because it's new to the tax roll, and any money that is received by the district from the assessment, the reassessment, excuse me, that is included in your rollback rate, that 3236, excuse me, you don't have to advertise. This is the first time in 6 reassessment periods that we've dealt with 3 components versus 2 components. It traditionally has been for the last 5, new money and reassessed value. This year, we're dealing with new money, reassessed value that's split into 2 components of cushion, which has been widely stated by the assessor, and roll forward, and your roll forward is at $260,000. So when you look at those 3 components, that basically is the makeup of that $1.4 million or $1.457 million. It is now a 3-component mix versus a 2-component mix as prior reassessments have been. Again, hopefully to be clear, this, and I'll use round numbers, the $600,000 is new. That's not required to be advertised. You're going to receive that regardless of any vote by the board.
Correct.
The cushion, which is determined by the assessor, is going to be received by the board without any required vote of the board, because that was built into that rollback rate of 3236 to 8%. You would have to go forward as a board on the 31st, and state your intention. You legally have to roll back. because that's required under statutory law. And you can legally roll forward, and if you do, the only amount you're rolling forward is for that additional $260,000. So is that clear as mud?
I told you you had a bigger brain than me.
What other percentages do we lose anywhere else?
Well, you have,
Does 100% of that money go to us, or is
No,
it divvied
no,
out to
absolutely
other
not.
departments and other agencies?
the assessor has told us every year that you get your assessed value. That roughly 3% comes off that is paid to other governmental entities. And that to discount an additional 4% on top of that for 7 roughly in total for people that don't pay, people that challenge the reassessed value, homestead exemptions, senior freezes, things of that nature. So for every dollar you may assess in total, you would only really collect 93 cents on that dollar, because 7% is going to other variables that you can't control. In this reassessment year, because of the 25% parish-wide statement of growth, he's asked us to increase that 4% to 5%. So for every dollar you levy an assessment, if you're at the max, you would only receive 92 cents on the dollar versus dollar for dollar, because those are mandatory distributions taken from you before you receive anything through the sheriff's office.
Then the cushion, which comes to roughly 8%,
No, 17%.
so it pulls back how much more off the dollar?
Well, the cushion you're going to receive regardless of the vote of the board, because it's built into your rollback rate.
Yep.
So if you look at, I use roughly 1.4 million for simplicity. In that 1.4 million, you have approximately 600,000 in new growth and approximately 800,000 or 850,000 in reassessed value. The reassessed value is what you have to advertise to the public if it's determined to be in your roll forward amount. Out of that 850,000, 600,000 was built into your rollback rate. It does not require you to go to a public hearing to roll forward. And 260,000 was built into the roll forward rate, which you would have to vote on to capture that money. If you don't say roll forward, then that 260 automatically comes off of the 1.4 million, and you would collect the net. The net adjusted by 8%.
By 8%, okay.
Question. On that 28.99%, is that specific to this district? Or is that parish-wide and just assumed everybody's got
It's
it?
exclusive to this district.
It is, okay, then we have increased our, the new is going to be 28.99%, and that's a fairly
But that's
high
for
number.
every taxing authority in District 3, not just the fire department. That's every, I think your total millage is approximately 144 mills that you levy.
Yeah, I think that's a little more than that, like 150.
150,
Yeah.
out of that, you're approximately 35,
34.
495.
Yeah.
So the other 120 mills would be from other taxing authorities, that like parish government, school
Rec
board,
district.
rec district, mosquito district.
Okay, but that is a hard number for our district, over,
Well,
not a hard number.
that's a number that's been provided to all taxing authorities through the assessor's office. You won't see the hard number until you actually receive the receipt.
Well, and keep in mind that there are some more exemptions that have not come off yet. The first responder exemptions,
Would reduce that number some.
yeah, will reduce it some. We don't know how much. It's hard to tell how many first responders are in our district. It's not just firemen. It's
Police, sheriff,
Causeway Police, it could be
That's that
Border
company.
Patrol.
Yeah, okay.
Gentlemen sitting here, he falls into that category. You're with the
Department of Homeland Security.
Department of Homeland Security.
yeah, you should qualify.
So she qualifies, yeah.
So, again, that's the 50,000 foot overview of what
Right.
is before this board.
Thank you, Mark.
Anything else on this topic? Get away from it and then you can't. All right, so then, if you look at this, what the assessor put out, he just made a statement that uncollected boards are collecting taxes. This is a statement. Unelected boards for each of the fire districts will vote to determine whether or not to roll up their millages and increase your taxes. Well, he's right. We do that. He's right about everything. We are unelected boards, and we will make the determination whether or not to roll up the millages. And it could increase the tax bill if we elect to roll things forward. As I explained, with a $250,000 home, it's going to come to about $45. Okay. So this is the thing that we need to keep in mind as a board. Okay. Whether or not the assessor agrees with the laws of Louisiana specific to the duties of the boards, the board of St. Tammany Parish Fire Protection 3 takes their duties very seriously. We will follow the laws of Louisiana, and we swore, and when every one of us was got into this seat, that we would uphold the laws. Okay, so it's within the law that we do this. We are obligated to take a look at it and make these decisions. We have the responsibility to consider rolling forward or rolling up or staying neutral or something in between. We don't have to take it all. We don't have to. Perhaps, it's that we should before the next assessment so that we make sure that we don't lose anything. But, all right, and so legal actions. So if you could hand those out. I don't know how many people within this district know, I don't know how many people from the community know that Fire District 3 has taken a legal action against the assessor. And I wanted you to have it, I wanted you to see it. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to read it. It's a letter that was our lawyer, Chad Howard, sent representing the fire department. You'll also see in that information that's being passed out another legal action that was taken by the St. Tammany Parish, what do you call it? Chiefs Association. Fire Chiefs Association. That should also be in the packet. Now, if you have a chance to read everything from Fire District 3, I'll answer any questions that you may have concerning it. I cannot answer anything about the St. Tammany Fire Chiefs Association communication that went out. I got it just like you did.
You'll let me on social media, those two,
We can certainly put them on our website for people to get to, as well as this presentation. So I'll wait, I'll pause for about 2 minutes, give everybody an opportunity to read it. And then I'll address any questions that you may have towards that action.
Question,
Yes, ma'am.
you sent us a copy of the letter before it went out. We have a copy of the letter here. Is there any difference? I can see a little spacing difference, but there was
No,
no.
the one that you had gotten was a draft,
Yeah.
and I think the one that you got here was the actual letter that went out. He
Anything
put some,
of note?
no, footnotes.
Okay.
Some footnotes.
And there were some grammatical corrections.
Okay, that's what I figured, okay. It looks-
In essence, it's the same.
Yeah. Thank you. I can't focus on both.
Everything was old.
I didn't see.
Didn't see it. You didn't read it?
No, I just checked it.
It didn't work.
I just tried it back later.
That's what I went to go get, and it was not there.
Coffee?
Yes. Okay. First, no. Not even slow, but
Dan, you said 2 documents you passed out?
Yes, ma'am. There should be one document that's titled Damon Hall,
the letter,
You got that?
yes,
And we should have one that says,
Fire
the
chief.
assessor.
yes,
Yeah, we don't have the fire chiefs.
No, I don't have fire chiefs.
You got that one?
Unless it's stated to the back
You
side
have-
of
No, man, I have a question.
Yeah.
What would be the expected date of adjudication for these?
Well, he's probably been served today. Yeah, it's really up to him, it's in his decision whether he wants to refrain or not. This is basically simply putting him on notice that if it doesn't cease and desist, that we'll consider taking things further.
Understood.
Yeah. And guys, it looks like they're scurrying to get you the Chiefs Association document. So while they're doing that, I'll take any question that you may have concerning the legal action filed by St. Tammany Parish Fire District 3 for the assessor.
The legal action being the cease and desist.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions from the board? Nothing from the board, do we have anything from the chief?
Yeah.
Anything from the public or from our workers? I hear none, so I guess we'll just move on to the next thing. So the other thing we have to consider when I spoke about those three things is, can we provide the adequate services? That's the job of the board to decide. And earlier we had that discussion. And the thing we got to consider with our millage is, can we provide adequate service in those strategic plans? That's the things we've got to consider. And so I want folks to see this slide. And I brought this slide up, and it was the reason why it got there. There was something that came across social media, and it talked about all of our shiny fire trucks, and that it was a ploy when we was asking for money to drug some old fire trucks up on Highway 190 and parked them there. As I recall, those things were sold as scrap iron. They were not viable pieces of equipment. But it's important for you to see this, and for everyone to know it. You know, I can go through every one of these. Every new guys drive these things. It's nothing new that I'm telling you. But I will point out, you know, some of these things are in operation every day. You know, so we've got a truck it's our newest one in the fleet. It's 14 years old. I've got rescue trucks, 22 years old. I've got an engine. It's a reserve engine, but it's still in service. It's 25 years old. Engine 33, 18 years old. Tanker 33, 17 years old. Oh my goodness, you know, Rescue 33, 41 years old. And looking at the people that work here, that thing was on the road before you were born. So, you know, we got old water rescue, 33. The other thing that I thought was really interesting by showing you all this information is that 4 of the 9, or 44%, of our fire suppression and rescue vehicles, by definition of the Department of Transportation, would qualify as an antique vehicle. It really speaks volumes, guys. You've got a truck that responds to emergencies on Interstate 12 every day. It's expected to go to every emergency every day, and it's 41 years old. 41, that's really compelling stuff. The other thing that we need to look at is staffing and quarters. So when we think about staffing, you know, there's a lot of guidance out there, and it's recognized that NFPA standard 1910 gives us some guidance. And the guidance says that engines should be staffed with 4 firemen per engine, and based upon certain risks and certain additional hazards can increase up to numbers like 6 or even more, depending on what you perceive the risk to be. Other trucks, that's going to be your rescue trucks, it's your tanker trucks, all those support vehicles, That guidance is for firemen as well, and that could certainly increase based upon given conditions. This is anything new to the people that's sitting in this room that's looking at me right now. But if you exclude the ambulance staff, we average 2 firemen per station. It's supposed to be 4 people per truck. And we talked about it today, and what we are is a 1 person per truck department. Is that the right staffing to provide, and we'll use that term again, adequate fire protection for the people that we represent and the people we serve? If you flip it over and take a look at the initial alarm, which is going to be our firefighters plus the officers, and it's got it broke out into 3 different hazards, from a low hazard to a high hazard, and the low hazard being simple structure fire. The guidance says that we should have 18 people. That's what the guidance says. I think we debated this internally, left, right, and sideways, and we're thinking 10 to 12.
And these are minimum numbers.
These are minimum, that's right. These are minimum numbers. If you look at a medium hazard, that's commercial structure fire, that could be lesions, right? Put it into perspective. If you go to a high hazard, you run across the street, a nursing home. It is a high hazard. I don't know what the occupancy is in there.
It's a highlight.
Yeah, it is.
It's about 100, give or take 100.
Yeah, 100 residents. That's got, that could have,
Employees.
they have to be, got out of there. We got the hospital up there. If that thing comes back online and it's full of patients, that's certainly going to, it's a high building, it's high rise, it's high occupancy, so there's a lot of risk in it. So when you look at that from a low hazard perspective, we should be having 18, high hazard 43. I'll stay down here at low hazard. Chief, can you tell me how many people we have on shift?
We're running roughly about 7 people a day.
7 people a day, so we're short by 10,
Correct.
based off the recommended.
That is correct.
So, on average, we have 78 firefighters on duty and 2 assigned to the ambulance, and that's something that you guys agreed to. The board said we want people on that ambulance, and we did, we got on that, okay? So, that's kind of the end of what I had to present to you folks. It's, don't need any decisions made on it, it's information sharing, so that you guys can give us feedback as to what we should be doing with the millages. Vice Chair Murphy has something that he wanted to share with everyone as well.
Well, I think before this video gets queued up, we have been doing more with less, as the assessor suggested that we should do. Now, as our councilman said, that this is a dangerous profession. This isn't sewing 101. We don't, nobody's going to get killed if we use old needles and, and old sewing thread. And I'm not minimizing or demoralizing people that are sewing, that's great. But this job carries with it, life hazards. And so to say we could do more with less, when I hear a statement like that, and I'm a 36-year retired veteran of the fire service, when I hear that kind of a statement, what I hear is injuries and death. That's what I hear. Because when we pull up on the scene and we have one guy operating and another guy at the fire building, and the civilians yelling their children are trapped or somebody's trapped, that fireman is not gonna hesitate for a second and wait for the NFPA standard to get there, recommended amount of people. He's gonna go in by himself. That's just what we do. So we're putting that individual in a position to have to do that. Now we can tell them, don't do it, you gotta wait for NFPA standard. That's not gonna happen. Anybody, any fireman or firefighter that pulls up on the scene and hears somebody's trapped, they're not waiting for anybody. They're putting their life on the line and they're going in to save. So anyway, like I said, we have been doing more with less. Every year the call volume increases, but yet staffing doesn't increase. Old apparatus aren't changed out because in the past we just have not had the revenue to do that. So I put together a video that kind of helps the public understand what we do, because
I think if they have an understanding of the things we face and the things we do and the things we have to train for, and why the National Fire Protection Agency says a minimum of 18 people on a one-alarm structure fire is necessary, and that's where they come about this information, because when you study firefighter deaths, we run anywhere from 80 to 100 deaths a year, 42,000 plus injuries a year. The majority of that happens in single-family dwellings. You would think, oh no, it's high-rises in New York City. No, it's not. Those are the mass casualty incidents, but the bulk of them come from single-family dwellings, which we have all over the place here. So if you would, please, Chief, cue the video. It's about a 6-minute video, and I appreciate you watching it and just kind of taking what we do.
What only began as neighbors helping neighbors, from bucket brigades to modern day, the fire service is America's first call for help. Whether it be car wrecks, medical emergencies, natural disasters, hazardous materials incidents, technical rescues, a terrorist attack, to a mass shooting, and of course, any kind of fire. We will come. Take a ride with us. This is a glimpse into power.
But tonight, 3-year-old Luke McCabe was meeting the heroes that saved his life. So tonight, wearing his Newtown Square firefighter gear, the team of firefighters, police, EMS, and dispatchers were honored for help saving Luke's life.
It's just amazing that we live someplace where, you know, you can just literally dial like 3 numbers and there are people rushing to your home.
So anyway, Chairman, I just wanted to show that video just for the citizens to understand some of the dangers that are involved and why we need staffing to be adequate, so that way we don't put our own personnel in harm's way, and we can adequately serve the public and make a grab or save if we need to.
Well, it's a pretty powerful piece of video that you got here. Chief Geisler, if you would be so kind as to put that on our website so people could access it. Folks who are watching on streaming, it'd be there. What do you think, Mike? Mar, at the end of the week?
During the stream, I actually attached the link, so they were able to.
You're so efficient. All right, folks, so you've had an opportunity to take a look at the PowerPoint presentation. You've heard some explanations. You've read some literature. So now I just have to ask the board, does the board have anything they'd like to add or comment concerning the presentation, video, or any of the other discussions that we've had?
I think, you know, once we explain the reality of it, instead of the make-believe that went out on social media, I think that's gonna tone it down a whole lot for the residents. Because when you see 71 point whatever percent increase, that's the first thing that caught my eye. And the only reason I saw it was because a very active friend of mine with some very strong political views, she put it out there, she copied it onto Facebook, and that's how I saw it, because we're friends on Facebook. Friends on Facebook. Yeah, I said that backwards. But I think when it's explained, like you tried to do tonight, and I hope everybody, well, I know these guys know what we're talking about. I think we need to, you know, at least give it a good go, because we're trying to bring our department really up to speed, up to par. We've been trying for years, and we're slowly making progress. But with the foreseeable future, who knows what else is gonna come up here on 434 particularly, or even down 190, the new subdivisions, new government buildings that don't pay taxes. I had to throw that in there. I said we go forward to the meeting.
Well, I would also add that I hope this clears up some confusion that people had.
Right.
I had a friend of mine also called me because she received the email, and it was very confusing. Unelected people are raising your taxes by 71%.
Right.
It was really alarming and confusing, and it really wasn't what's really happening, because we're not increasing anyone's taxes. That's what people voted on. We're just bringing the millage up to the maximum level. Now it's going to increase because assessed values have increased, you know, perhaps. You know, so I hope this clears up some of the confusion. And if anybody has any questions, we would love to field a bunch of questions for the next week before we go to Coop Drive on the 31st. To really have an understanding where the public, you know, what are their wishes and what they want.
Okay.
Feel the same way. I think that it's a powerful presentation, and I think that if they have any concern, they should contact us so we can address the situation and show them the positive of it.
I agree.
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yeah, accountability, that's what I'm looking at. Not only are we accountable to the public, but we also are accountable to our firemen. You know, we have to, looking at that video, we have to be aware of the danger they go through to protect the citizens in St. Tammany Parish or in our local area.
Yeah, especially if they're short-staffed.
Yes.
My opinion is that we need to really consider what we have today. We've got 44% of our apparatus with antique license plates. We've got one-man trucks. We've got stations that cannot accommodate growth. We have to take into account what the demographics are bringing us all across this district. We have to consider what's coming down that 434 corridor. Those are all things to do. I'm a citizen here, I pay the taxes here, we pay just like everybody else. And it's really worth it to me to give, a few dollars a month to make sure that we have what we need, and as equally important, the firemen have what they need and what they deserve.
And please understand, this is not gonna bring us to 18 people. This is not gonna bring us to 4 person on each engine. Even with this increase, we're not gonna be able to buy all new apparatus because they run around $500,000 a piece. They're very expensive. But it is gonna help us to make some changes that we've been needing to make for quite some time now. But it's not gonna fix everything. It's just not enough. But
Another aspect, our homeowners insurance, which we always bring up kind of at the end, but the better prepared the fire department is, the better the rating is, and the lower the homeowners insurance can be. So
All
there's
things
that,
to consider.
it may not be much, but it might offset that $45 a year or more, it could. And another thing is, we have to be, like I mentioned 434, what's coming. We don't wanna wait until it's here and try to play catch up again. We're playing catch up now.
Yep.
And then should Tammany explode, maybe all of a sudden, boom. Right now they're kinda slow. This other one down the road is coming on fast. But should Tammany come on, we need the equipment. They're in our district, right?
Yes.
All of Tammany, or most of Tammany.
Currently, Tammany's current build out, majority of it is in our district. But, don't know where they will go in the future.
Right, and it could happen fast. You get another general contractor / developer in there, like DR Horton is now.
Yep.
You get one more guy that wants us there to do 200 houses.
Yeah.
And there's room for it up there.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, we're way behind. We're not even up to where we need to be. We're way behind.
We're there now, we're behind.
We're behind now, exactly.
So,
and we're hiring.
And
If anybody wants to
slowly,
join
yeah.
Fire District 3,
Yeah.
so I'd like to ask the chiefs your thoughts about tonight, what you perceive needs.
Yeah, I think you covered it well, but just to, to summarize, we are playing catch-up of over 20 years. We talk a lot about Folgers tonight, but the hospital is long closed, and that was a big setback for us as well. So that's 2 big corporations that we've been set back from their closing or not having had paid taxes. And, our 3 main focuses to prepare, to continue preparing to adequately cover the cone is, as we've mentioned, it's the staffing. That's first and foremost, to get our boots on the ground numbers up. And following that, when you have that plan, building renovations. We've got to finish renovating our buildings so we can house the people we hire on. And then, of course, with that said, we talked a lot about our emergency vehicles. We've got to have reliable emergency vehicles that are safe, which we do spend quite a bit of money keeping our trucks up and running and as safe as we can get for our firefighters. But because they're so old, it doesn't make financial sense, you know, to keep funding a high level of maintenance costs. Of course, we had no choice. We're trying to dig ourselves out of that to where we can rotate our fleet and, for obvious reasons, and lower that maintenance cost. Yeah, I think y'all really said it well tonight, and I just want to just summarize that one more time. These are very important strategic moves we have to continue facing, and we can't do it without funding.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Geisler?
You know, there's a want and there's a need, and I think some of these things that we've addressed today are a need in our community that we serve, that we want to protect, need these advancements, need these, you know, these gentlemen on the trucks, we need the manpower, we need the apparatus for them to efficiently do their jobs so that we don't, you know, we don't have to deal with any casualties or you know, within the department or within our community. So I think these are needs that we need to move forward and be able to properly protect our community.
Mr. Teresi, you got anything? No? I'd like to hear from the people that's here. If you have anything you'd like to say. I'd like to hear from the firemen to see if there's anything they would like to add to this.
I think to put it in perspective, not so very long ago, before we did get some funding, hiring new people, we responded to a commercial structure fire, 4 people. That's what we had. So
It's pretty telling.
we need it.
Yeah, it's pretty telling. Well, Mark? Okay, nothing.
Yeah, I think it's been well stated. I think that anybody that wishes to come examine any board meeting, any public record will verify, even from the audits of, basically no findings for years, that this district has been very financially responsible, that you squeeze the front as much as you can. And this is an opportunity, quite frankly, to do those things that protect the community at a higher level.
Thank you.
And we have had citizens respond to the assessor's email, and they were very upset with us until chairman showed them the books, and then they went out supporting us. So to clear the air, if there's any confusion, please call.
Yeah, it's open book. Folks are invited anytime. You got any questions, call, email. If you want to, folks that's in the video world, my email address is dhall@stfd3.com. If you want to reach out to me, will respond to you. If you want to call, leave a message, 985-882-5977. Tell them that you want to get in touch with me. If you wouldn't mind, tell them what it's about, and someone here, I'm sure, will track me down. Okay? So there will be no vote tonight. The vote will take place July 31st, 4 o'clock at Coop Drive. I'd like to have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. And do we have a second? All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, folks. Good night.
Thank you.